All right. Hey, I just wanted to run through a quick grouper demo for you here. And what you're looking at is really a grouper process here. So remember, keep in mind with grouper, we want to talk about bringing documents in, running them through some sort of process where we're extracting text or recognizing text. We're splitting documents into or pages into multiple documents. We're classifying the documents. We're extracting data. We're building a data model and extracting data from those documents so that we can filter that through some downstream application. And then we're going to ultimately export that data, maybe as XML or JSON, or we're going to write it out to a SQL database or something, some mechanism, or interacting with the application's API, we can write the data to, that application. But my point is with a grouper process, we want to bring the documents in, we want to transform the documents, and then we want to move them out of grouper ultimately. So right now, I'm just going to do a quick demo. It's an accounts payable invoice processing demo, kind of start to finish here, so you can see what that looks like. I can, as a user, I can create a new batch several different ways. One of the ways that we can do that is through just a document scanner. So I can, load up a stack of documents or pages in a scanner, run them through, and then that would kick off that particular process that I assign. We can also do create batches from like file systems. So I can point to a directory where documents may live, and I can like manually kick off a batch from there. We can also have grouper monitor a file share or directory, so as soon as documents land in that directory, you can pick them up automatically and kick off a new batch. Same thing with email. Pull them in from pointing to an inbox, or grouper can monitor an inbox. But a lot of different ways that we can start a new batch in grouper. Again, for this particular demo, I'm just going to do new. I'm going to choose the process so we can have as many processes as we want as a user, and then I'll select that, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit process, and I'm just going to simulate driving a document scanner here. So what you'll see is just a bunch of loose pages, running through the scanner. No kind of intelligence at this point. Again, the idea being that we're going to have Grouper do that work to figure out, are these multi-page invoices, single-page invoices? What vendor are they? And so as a user, I can complete that. If there were, we've got some image processing happening where Grouper is de-skewing and rotating pages, and just really some basic things. But if there was something that was maybe rotated that Grouper missed, I could, as a user, fix that from here. But I'll go ahead and complete that, and then you'll see kind of some automation start to fire. So really, from a user's standpoint, that may be the only interaction they have with documents in a grouper process. You'll see here, I've got these steps that are configured that I can build and add, but I've got a classification review step and I've got a data review step. So we can obviously introduce kind of a human in the loop aspect to this. And you can see groupers crunching through. I think there was 65 pages. It'll separate out those pages into individual documents. As a user, I could look at those documents and determine, are they classified correctly? And then we have another review step where we've told Grouper what data that we need to collect. There's header information, PO number, invoice number, dates, things like that, but also line item detail information from those invoices. So Grouper can tell us, based on rules that we set when we're designing the process, it can flag data that may be inaccurate or doesn't match one of those rules that we've created, and bring a user's attention to that. So I'll go ahead and hit process. I could hit process here and complete it from this interface. But as a user, I'm going to go ahead and open up just our attended client. So maybe I sit on my desk every day. These batches are, groupers monitoring email inboxes, or we're operating scanners, or we're creating batches. As a user, I can open up and see batches in various states of human review that may need my attention. So I can click on that one, open it up, and then here's our batch of those 65 pages. They're all now 45 separate invoices. You can see it stopped me here on 38 of 45. So the first 37 invoices, it collected all the information that we needed with no issues or errors. You can see we're getting all the header information, the line item detail. We're actually doing mathematical validation. So if I change that to a 0, Grouper would flag that, and that would be the first document that it would bring me to. But I'm going to go ahead and change that back so I can modify and make corrections to these. But the point being, if you've got 45 invoices that you're processing, you don't have to tab through every single piece of data, every single document as you're doing your review. So we've got an error here. Grouper tells me what that error is, and that's part of that mathematical calculation that we're doing that we've engineered in the model. So just a real simple OCR error here. Grouper missed that one. So I need to, as a user, correct that. I can tab out. I can actually hit a hotkey here. You can't see that, but I'm going to hit Control I, and it'll take me, if there was a document that did have an additional error, Grouper would take me to that document. But all these are valid, so I can go ahead and close this task when I'm ready. Again, just to kind of look at some different formats here. So, again, 65 pages. These are different formats, all one process. We're not doing any zonal OCR or anything like that, where we're looking for particular areas of a document that we need to collect this information. It's all pattern based. So anyways, I'll go ahead and complete this. Then I wanted to show you one other thing. So part of my process here would be, we've got a document export, and for this, we can move this data into any kind of, again, this is an AP, accounts payable accounting process, so we could integrate the data with an accounting system, and then, but for this, we're just simply naming these based on vendor, based on date, invoice number, and we're putting them back into a file share. So let me go ahead and open this up, and you'll see here's a folder, an export folder that I have. They're all organized. All those invoices are organized by vendor. I can click into here. That's invoice number. Here's my invoice. Let me open this up, drag it over here. And then what's kind of cool, and this, there's some applications for this, and we can move this into a SharePoint or a Highland on-base or an open text content server document management system, but just a real simple use case. I mean, I've got Adobe pulled up here. All of that data that we collected, all that intelligence that we now have from these documents that Grouper has extracted, now can live with that PDF. So I've got just bookmarked data here, so you can see that it's annotated on the document. So there's my remit to address. I can click through here. There's my, just any kind of data that we need, we can have it live with the document. So let me click on my properties here too. And you can see all the data that we collected now lives with the document. So invoice number, dates, amounts, anything that we want to collect there. So again, real quick, just run through of Grouper. The idea being, you bring documents in, you run them through whatever process we want to define. Any of the data that you want to collect from the document, we can configure in Grouper. Classification. We have a lot of flexibility to how we bring documents in and how we get documents and data out. So hopefully this was helpful. Just, again, give you an idea of what a process might look like, how interaction from a user, what that might look like. Last thing here, let me drag this over to. So what I just showed you was our thick client. That's Grooper 2021, our next release. Everything that you saw will be web-enabled, web-based. So the design studio, where we create these batches and processes, and we bring in sample documents and we build out kind of the intelligence, that's all web-enabled. User, again, now instead of having a thick client, I can go to just a web URL. I can see those tasks, batches in various states that I may need to interact with. Import, again, set up imports from file, email, whatever we maybe. So that's where we're moving. This is going to be GA, I think, in the next week or two. So different way, you've got options with how you interact with these batches. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you very much.